Hi, I'm Liz Parker, senior editor of Candy Industry Magazine. Today we're here with Jeff Greenwald, the marketing manager for CandyRific and Hilco. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks. My pleasure.
So first off, how did CandyRific and also Hilco originally get their starts, and what made them decide to produce novelty candy?
Our owner, Rob Erbach, was in the toy industry for years, many years, and he did a lot of licensed toys and things like that. And when he sold his last toy company, he realized that there could be a good fit for the same thing in consumables. So he started CandyRific, and he utilized a lot of his contacts, which is how he was able to secure all of our entertainment licenses and things like that. Hilco was a company we purchased about 9 years ago who were doing some novelty and some giftables. And we utilized that platform to get us into a more consumable side of novelty. Whereas CandyRific does a lot of fans and collectibles, Hilco does novelty that you can eat and purchase over and over again.
Okay, and can you speak to some current trends in the novelty candy sector?
Trends right now are have really changed a lot. The trends for many, many years were whatever the hot movie was or the hot license. And with COVID happening and the streaming platforms, that's not necessarily the case. What is trending is things that you see over and over. So an evergreen property like Marvel or Star Wars, that is what is driving the licensed novelty, not the flash in the pans or the movie that's in the theaters. The other trend is, and this plays well on the Hilco side, is branding. So brands like Kool-Aid that you wouldn't expect, or Girl Scout cookies that you think of as a beverage mix or a cookie, utilizing those platforms to sell other products. And the biggest trend that we're seeing, and it's a term that I love to use because I'm one of them, is kidult. So making products that are exciting for kids that the 8-year-old is going to pick up because he just left the Marvel movie and he wants Thor or whoever his favorite character is. But then also people like me who are like a Marvel collector or a pop culture geek who are picking these things up. And that is a growing segment. And you're seeing companies like Lego and Funko all keying in on millennials, Gen Z, even Gen X.
And then you've kind of touched on this a little bit, but how does CandyRific and Hilco address these trends?
It's really looking at partially what the big trends are, but also partially trying to capture the trends that are emerging. Once, everyone has Marvel, a lot of people have Disney, and there's enough to support that. The problem is when something becomes big enough, a lot of times it's already past its prime. So we spend a lot of time at licensing shows. We do a lot of research and, walk a mall and look at places like Hot Topic and Barnes and Noble and try to see what is coming. If they're into it, other candy companies aren't looking at it necessarily. Um, we have to make a decision. And sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't work so great. But it's really getting in at the right time on a license. It's really getting in at the right time on a food source. For instance, the right now a very big trend is freeze dried candy, and there were a couple of people who were doing it, and it grew and grew and grew. But now it's almost oversaturated. Now there's a freeze dried every kind of candy. For us to look at getting into that, even with our brand partners, doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense right now. So, it's really a lot of timing on all sides.
Okay. That's interesting. I actually just started seeing freeze dried, but there are a few companies that do it now. I just saw some at ECRM, I believe.
Yeah, they had a good amount of it. There's a couple of filled cones.
Yep. Seen
Companies like I believe it's just the best part and Muddy Bites. That seems like there's some sustainable growth there. So that's something we would definitely look at getting into because it's almost become a category. Who knows? There could be a freeze dried category in IRI at some point if it grows, but sometimes that stuff tends to just be kind of a flash in the pan for a couple of years.
Okay. And then similarly, what's new on the horizon for CandyRific or Hilco, either later this year or beginning of 2024?
On the CandyRific side, we have some great items coming out. We have always been a fan talker type company. With COVID, with the supply chain, with inflation, our items that were $5 at retail are now 6 and 7 and 8, depending on where they are. And we realized that although the category, non-chocolate novelty is the fastest growing category, there are those parents who think, well, it's great, but I'm not dropping $7 to keep my kid happy right now. So one of the things on the CandyRific side is we are launching some backpacks licensed with characters. We're doing some mini dispensers and some candy cases, which is which is almost like a sculpt that are a little bit lower, that are a $4 or $5 retail, being cognizant of everyone's pocketbooks. Hilco has some great items coming, some chocolate items that we're dipping our toe into, a couple of new partnership brands that we're very, very excited about, and really looking at where there's a need. There's definitely not a need in gummies right now, but chews and popping candy is growing at a very rapid pace, and that's where we're playing, and you'll start to see some new innovation with our Warheads and Kool-Aid brands.
Okay, that sounds good. And then last question, what is your favorite CandyRific and or Hilco product?
So I will say my favorite Hilco product is the Kool-Aid chews. It's a panned kind of Starburst chew, and the flavor is great. And that's like my go-to, need a sugar rush. I don't know. CandyRific, I I am I'm an avid Marvel guy, so I would have to say the excitement of what our new fan is going to be every year. We had Thor last year and Doctor Strange this year, and coming next year is going to be Hulk. So as we start developing the next character that Marvel licenses us, so I would say probably our Marvel fans are fantastic.
Okay, I'll have to keep an eye out for the Hulk.
The Hulk, in a very limited edition coming next summer in our shippers of Red Hulk, who will be introduced in the Captain America movie next summer, who's Hulk's nemesis. So that'll be a first for us, and so I'm excited and hoping they'll be on eBay for lots of money because they're going to be so collectible. You never know.
Right. Yep. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but thanks for being here with us.
My pleasure. Happy to do it.